Are you a person that gives too much? Or do you find yourself in codependent relationships often? Because if so, you might have an overactive heart chakra. So we don't talk about when they're overactive very often, but I do go over that in my chakra book. So let's go over the opening of your heart chakra, because chakras, like ogres, onions, and auras, have layers. And you guys are watching me make this in real time, so sometimes you're going to see little notes. Those won't be in the book. But hey, maybe that note's there for a reason. So if you're experiencing shoulder pain, that could be your high heart chakra, and that is when your inner child needs to do some forgiving. So if you are new here, my name is Faint Noise. I'm working on a chakra workbook and I'm sharing it with you guys. We're going over all the good information. We are on the heart chakra at this point, so if you haven't caught the rest, you might want to go back and just catch up, but you don't have to. I do still recommend that you go watch them at some point though, because while you don't need that information for this video, we are at this point on a more evolved chakra, so you're kind of missing some of the base info. So whenever we are looking at our root and our heart chakra and they are establishing the first bit of connection, we're going to be looking at when we begin to resolve our generational trauma, our family wounds, and our abandonment issues. At this point, relationships are going to be becoming more stable. You're going to be becoming more secure of who you are in a relationship and what you require out of your relationships. And now whenever our sacral is interacting with our heart, this is when our inner child really starts to wake up to what their passions are. And in that same breath, we become more compassionate beings. Now we're going to see a lot of the inner child in our heart chakra because our inner child does reside in our heart chakra. Love and forgiving and hate and all of those really strong emotions reside here with your inner child. And whenever your inner child gets that permission to just kind of go be and exist, your ego becomes unpolarized and you start to become more balanced as a person. Now, our heart chakra at its basis, like I said, is that love, forgiveness, is really strong emotions. So whenever our heart is in the frequency of gratitude, it is thriving. So if you've got all of your heart chakra open and flowing, you will be living in that state of gratitude. You will be living in a state of unconditional love. Fun fact, our heart chakra is where our toric field stems from. You know, whenever we go into the hospital and they measure your EMF, that is from your heart chakra. It's the electromagnetic field that is put out from your heart chakra. So people that we see with a lot of heart issues, I'm not saying that their medical diagnosis is not real, but what I am saying is that their heart chakra does have something to do with it. All right, moving on to the throat chakra. This is our chakra of expression and communication, and whenever our heart chakra interacts with it, we get our poets. We get people that can express love and express their feelings, and their words become almost healing for others. It's really beautiful. I absolutely love our poets. Poetry, spoken word is one of my favorites, so thank you all. Now, whenever we get to the third eye, it becomes quite a statement that I wrote here. Heart-centered wisdom and healing through understanding awakens empathy in the inner cleric. Let's go over what that means. So everyone's always wanting to open their third eye. Everybody's like, oh, I gotta open my third eye so I can see and have psychic visions. And your third eye is always open, y'all. It's never, none of our chakras were ever closed. At worst, they just were imbalanced or not flowing well. And our third eye is how we can see into the future, not because we're psychic, but because of pattern recognition, because of trial and error. And at this point in your evolution, you have gained enough wisdom and enough experience through emotion and through doing things that you know kind of how things are going to go. Our heart chakra is about the age of a 25 to 35-year-old. They have a little bit of an idea what they're doing. So this begins to awaken empathy for others because you've been there, you've done it. And the inner cleric wakes up because you want to help. You recognize that that's your fellow man and hey, I've been down this road and I know how to get out of it. This is like our therapist. This is the people that really get out there and do the hard work for people. Now, whenever our heart chakra interacts with our crown chakra, this is where things get really beautiful because you start to recognize forgiveness as an act of self-love. You begin to forgive yourself. You begin to forgive others. This is whenever you realize that forgiving someone doesn't mean that you have to allow them back into your life to do the same thing, but that forgiving them means that you no longer have to carry the weight of that resentment anymore. We recognize that it's better to put our energy into us, into healing and love, than to put our energy into things that we don't like. We really begin to shift our focus as we recognize that we manifest in with our feelings and with love and with gratitude, and that if all we're doing is focusing on what we don't like, we're going to be pulling a lot more of that in. So I go over all of this in more detail, as well as a bunch of activities for how to heal your heart chakra, as well as all your other chakras in my chakra workbook that I am releasing soon. A lot of people have been asking about it. Let me show you guys my progress. Okay, so here it is, and I've decided I'm sorry, I'm shaking so bad. I've decided I'm going to make this a physical copy for those of us that like to write whenever we journal, and I'm also going to make it a hyperlinked digital copy. And I have it in a lot of sections. There's more than just this, but this is what I guess I am the most proud of. If I had to put a time frame on it, I would say a month and a half until I might be ready to release this digitally. But over that month and a half, I plan on releasing more content and talking about it quite a bit. So please stick around for the journey. And whenever it comes out, it's going to be well worth the wait. But I will continue to update you guys as I go. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk more chakra stuff. Stay magical, my friends.